Preeta ma'am. Ma'am, thank you so much for believing in the book straight away.
Thank you.
I'd like to thank my mother because she used to read everything that I used to write as a kid. When I look back on what I wrote now, of course it's very childish and I think, ye kya likha tha maine? But mom read everything. So I'm just hoping that 5-10 years down the line, I don't read this book and then start thinking, oh, ye kya likha maine? Hopefully that won't happen. I'd also like to thank several friends who've supported me, who've been there for me. Nikhil, Kamaini, you people deserve some special praise. You've been very encouraging. Thanks, guys. Why did I write this book? I can't remember exactly. I think most of us write, not most of us, I write at least to create a fantasy world for myself. The real world is not the way that our parents and teachers taught us. The real world doesn't work on the ideas that we were taught as kids. So I think writing for me, or any kind of creativity that I indulge in, is creating a fantasy world to escape into. A world where good things happen to good people. And the guy gets the girl in the end, that sort of thing. That's probably the reason I like being in the creative arts. The journey for this book has been pretty quick. My friend Siddharth Sharma, who is a fabulous writer, last year he won the Vodafone Crossword Book Prize. He's a fabulous writer. He's not here, unfortunately. He's in Delhi and he's got viral fever. Otherwise, he was also planning to be here. He introduced me to Preeta ma'am, and she, after reading 6 chapters, said, "You're on." And that was one of the happiest days of my life, I guess. And then when the book finally came out, actually I didn't tell anybody that I was working on this.
Yeah.
Just 2 cousins knew, and Amarjeet and 1 or 2 other friends, and my brother Tony knew. So when the book finally came out and when I finally had a copy in my hands, that's when I went and showed my family, okay, here, this is what I've done. A pleasant surprise is what I wanted to make it. So I guess that's it about the story of the book. And is there anything else that we should talk about now?
I don't think so. Let's start reading.
Reading?
Read the chapter. Read from the bottom. Don't give away the ending.
Of course not.
Is your favorite part?
Marriage hall happened to be diagonally opposite the corner where Joseph and Asta had had their first encounter. On a chilly November evening in 2007, the engagement board read in shiny golden letters, "Asta weds Monty." Dressed in bridal finery, Asta was seated with a few of her friends in a room on the first floor, waiting for the pundit appointed hour to get married. In walked her father, a laptop in hand. The incongruity of the laptop, which happened to be her fiancé Monty's, wasn't lost upon Asta. "Lady," said Mr. Mishra to Asta's friends, "would you please give us a minute?" "What's the matter?" said Asta. Mr. Mishra gave her an "I'll tell you" nod. When her friends had... principal characters would probably be about 5 or 6 and several other ancillary characters.
ये जो टाइटल रखा गया है चॉकलेट गटर,
हाँ.
ये क्या है?
गटर नहीं, गिटार।
तो वो जो भी क्या है, गिटार से आपको बहुत मोहब्बत है या मोमोज से बहुत मोहब्बत है या चॉकलेट से बहुत मोहब्बत है?
तीनों से, तभी तो नाम रखा है.
तो आपने टाइटल रखने से पहले क्या इस किताब के अंदर क्या होगा इन चीज़ों से संबंधित?
वेल, इस किताब में लोग चॉकलेट बहुत खाते हैं, मोमो बहुत खाते हैं, गिटार बजाते हैं. तो दैट एंड प्लस ये एज अ टाइटल ये काफ़ी आई कैचिंग है. सो आई थॉट कि ये टाइटल ठीक रहेगा.
Yeah. I think the best part about this book is which one? Look here. The best part about the book is how it has this romantic notion of how one guy is willing to do anything to look for the love of his life, and based on almost no data, he goes back and looks for her, and I found that journey very exciting.
Chapter you personally like it. So many chapters in this book. Which chapter you personally like?
I really like the first chapter where he gets dumped and shat upon.
What about you, Bob?
What I like about the book? What I like about the book is that it's very visual. The book is very visual. lot of books जो होते हैं but it's not so visual that it leaves you suffocated कि अच्छा ऐसे ही है, ऐसे ही है, ऐसे ही fixed है, सारे सीन, सारे सिनारियो, जितने passages written हैं, so बहुत सारा इसमें बहुत breathing space है, the way he's written it, the way he's conceptualized the passages, and I think when you're reading it ना, I think आप अपने दिमाग में you can actually travel to that place कि जिस तरह की बातें करें, जिस तरह की surrounding है, जिस तरह कैरेक्टर हैं, so that's a very nice thing about this book.
Chapter you personally like so many chapters in the story.
I personally like a couple of chapters actually. एक chapter जो मेरे को पसंद है वो it is absolutely towards the end, जिसमें he reads her email sitting in the same church. So I'm not going to that. I'm not going to talk about too much.
I'm just 2 minutes, man. 2 minutes only. Okay.
So definitely one of the chapters in the end. I think it's 21st, chapter 21st or something. I really like that. That has the whole twist in the tale, which I won't talk about. Another chapter that I really liked, which was really funny actually, is the chase. जब वो लोग there's an abduction in this and there's an old auntie who is eloping. ठीक है, इसमें जो होते हैं बच्चे शादी करवाते हैं माँ बाप की एंड नॉट दी अदर वे अराउंड, तो वो एक उसके बाद में एक चेज है, उसके पहले शादी के पहले एक चेज होता है विच इज़ क्वाइट नाइस, एंड द होल फंडा व्हाई यू शुड एक्चुअली यूज अ सीट बेल्ट आई थिंक इज वेरी नाइस इन दिस बुक, but genuinely I like the fact that it's very visual. This book, not at all. I don't think it's experimental at all. I've seen this culture, I've lived in this culture, I've been a part of it. एक्सपेरिमेंटल ये तब होता अगर ये किसी ऐसी कल्चर या ऐसे दुनिया की बात कर रहे होते जिसमें जो एग्जिस्टिंग या फिर जो बहुत ज़्यादा नीच है. आई थिंक ये द कैरेक्टर्स, द लाइफ, इट्स वेरी मिडिल क्लास, इट्स वेरी गुवाहाटी, द एग्जाम्पल्स जो हैं बहुत नॉर्थ ईस्टर्न है एंड वेरी मिडिल क्लास आई थिंक थ्रू आउट इंडिया. सो एनीवेयर इन इंडिया यू
Actually, at first this was a script. Kenny had written it as a film. So at that time, he had given it to me to read for the character. So I agree with him. I think it will make a damn good film. And it will be funny, it will be about the youth. I definitely think it should be made into a film. And I think since, I don't know, why don't you be Joseph?
How about your coming movie with Tamil?
Yes.
Just tell something about that.
It's about the coal mafia. It's about the coal mafia. It's set in Bihar.
Working with Anurag.
Anurag is great. He's fantastic to work with. He's a great director to work with. One of the best we have in this country.
Can you plan to like part 2, because I think everyone write this book, everyone I feel like picture. I plan to part 2.
I don't think so. I'd probably change genres right away after this, so as not to write another similar book.
But please keep food and music a part of it somewhere. If possible.
But if you had to write a book someday, what would you write about?
Don't pick any of these up. But together what
I think the biggest deal. We all need to keep at it, otherwise we become cynical or we lose interest. So I'm really all for this, and I think we should all buy copies apart from these. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Bumpy ji, kuch boliye.
You promised that you won't call it a G thing. I'm very grateful to Kenny for letting me come here. It's usually my wife at home who gives me books to read and tells me you must read, you must keep reading, you must keep reading. And and this book, on two things that people have said earlier this evening, this book really has been tough to find. I remember Nikhil, one of our friends, he bought it about a month back, I think, when it just hit the racks. And I said, whose book is this? He said, Kenny's written a book. I said, what? Kenny's written a book? And I didn't know Kenny that well. In terms of that, he was actually working on a book, and it's now published and it's on the racks. And I've been looking for the book for a bit, and I wasn't able to get it. The second thing that's true is it's a quick read, and it's a really nice, fun afternoon read. I'm glad I read it during the monsoon, so it kind of made a dreary day a lot brighter. It's very funny. It got me actually hooked in the first 6 or 7 pages, and that's how I usually judge a book. If it's 6 or 7, within 10 pages, if you kind of like, what, let me go for a beer and then come back and read the rest of the book. I think it's a good book. What I really like about the book is, of course, the fact, which I was telling Kenny also earlier in the evening, the fact that someone's actually finally spoken for the Momo. It's something. I don't know how many of you have been, have had to eat momos because you don't have the money, or you had to eat, or you want to eat momos because it's the best thing available. But I love my momos, and it's very difficult to find a good momo in Bombay. So the next best thing is finding a good book about a momo. Okay? If you're a Weight Watcher, you do not want to read this book. Okay? Because one part of this book, 1/3 of this book is only about food, which is great for someone like me. It may not be great for someone who's trying to lose weight. After every 10th page, it's a journey into a different kind of momo, or a different meal, or there's some pork with rice, bamboo shoot, there's some local wine as well, which is great. So someone's finally spoken about that. Music, it's one of my favorite things, and food and music together, it's like reading porn, for me. So it's just been brilliant, and I know this about the Northeast culture, that they don't just know their music, they really know their music. There was a long time back, when I used to be in college and I was a part of a band, I got off at Guwahati, drove to Shillong, and the cab guy who was driving us there spoke to us about Led Zeppelin. And we were all, pretentious band guys from Delhi, thought, oh, this guy knows about Led Zeppelin and he's driving a cab, and that really changed my life. I think the third thing, Asta, the character from this book, she 14 momos, 14 or 20, 15 momos she ate, 13 momos and then 14 momos. A woman who can, and a guy who can write about a woman who can eat so many momos, has got to have met some beautiful woman in his life. I just am dying to meet anyone who can eat 14 momos, guy or a girl. But I think the book is lovely. Like I said, I didn't know him. I didn't know that he was actually writing a book. I know that he acts, he sings, he dances, he cracks jokes, he cooks brilliant food. He's a very passionate guy, and he kind of makes you feel blessed about the opportunities that you get for yourself. That here is someone out there who's so passionate, and he's just going at it, yeah. And I hope. I'm sure you're going to write many more books. For your sake, I hope you do. For my sake, I hope food and music find their way in all those books, man, that you write. Thank you so much.
Thank you.